Hey, welcome into the Five Hole Fantasy Hockey Podcast. We're your hosts tonight, Alan and Jay. Jay, man, it's been for freaking ever. Like we were talking before the show, you were on the other side of the world for a few months. I know that a lot of us here, the pod have just been kind of slammed in the last month. But I was determined to make this happen, just in time for all the camps to start. So I made sure to put all the notes in for some of the lines that came out of camps today. But man, yeah, new season upon us, man. Are you excited? We're in the same tier in the five hole league again.
Oh, it's all incredible, Alan. And I mean, it coincides just with fantasy football drafts concluding, the fantasy season just beginning, and again, fantasy hockey now drafts rolling up. This is the time of the year, Alan. Honestly, it's new
T-
season, new hopes, new
Is
dreams.
the season. But yeah, we're so yeah, we did Central Part 1 last show. This is Central Part 2. We're going to be going over Colorado, St. Louis, Minnesota, and Utah. Breakdowns, questions, storylines, top targets. But before we get going, yeah, wherever you like, listen to us, watch us, make sure to like, subscribe, that fun stuff. I don't think we have mocks going on anymore. I know the five hole league. I think we finished all of our drafts. We're doing categories this year. It'll be fun because I think this is only my second or third time playing cats. And join us in the Discord. Questions, reach out to us at one of the easier places in Twitter/X. And I don't think there's a podcast version, but there's definitely a YouTube version of TJ's draft tool. That is his magnum opus. He's been working on it. I don't know, diligently is an understatement. But there's a video tutorial out there, and yes, he is well aware that Cutter Gauthier is broken. I don't have an explanation for it. Like he hasn't fixed it yet, but yeah, make sure to check that out. And again, yeah, it's even, I think there's even a link to it in the fantasy hockey subreddit on Reddit if you're part of such shenanigans. But yeah, let's dive in. First up is Colorado. Last season they were 50, 25, and 7, third in the Central, eighth in the NHL. Goals for per game, they were 3.4, good for sixth. Goals against per game, 2.82 for 21st. Their power play percentage, 24.8, which tied for eighth. And this was something I kind of clicked with me. I remembered from the previous show talking to Zach. Yeah, so definitely this shows you how much Chicago overachieved on their power play. That Chicago was like 0.1% higher than Colorado. Like, Jay, would you believe that Chicago in their current state should have a comparable power play to Colorado? Lizzie J, am I on mute?
Sorry, Alan. I might have cut out slightly there.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
so yeah, like I said, so Chicago's power play was only 0.1% higher. Do you believe Chicago in its current state has an equal power play to Colorado? Like, does that just show the degree that Chicago overachieved on the power play?
it's it's a high percentage for sure, right? Like 24%. I mean
For
that.
Chicago, both Chicago and Colorado to finish in the top 10 on power play last season. I just don't think it does a.
Yeah, it's
I think that shows how much they overachieved.
I mean, the other aspect I would say too is like uh Colorado had such turnover last season for, I guess, like the huge one obviously was Rantanen, right? So just imagining if they didn't have any roster turnover, do we expect that this power play percentage would have been even higher? Which is kind of absurd to
It's
consider,
entirely
but
possible.
entirely
No,
possible.
I still believe Colorado easily a top 10 power play, even with the personnel turnover. And I think I saw that Dave Haxall is coaching their power play. I have
Oh,
mixed feelings on that. It was either, I can't remember if it was their power play or the Islanders. There's a lot of tweets coming out today. There's a lot to digest.
sure.
But yeah, Chicago, I don't think they should have a top 10 power play in their current state. But then off nights, back to everything else. Off nights they have 25, so they're 26th toward the bottom, and 12 back-to-backs. So off-season changes. They added Victor Olofsson pretty recently. Brent Burns. I don't know if I'd get my hopes high there. Gavin Brindley subtractions. They lost Jonathan Drouin. Cool, whatever. Charlie Coyle, Miles Wood traded to Columbus, and then Ryan Lindgren. They did re-sign Brock Nelson though, so they have a lock for 2C now. That is them and Winnipeg. I swear, I know I've made this comparison before. The 2C position for like Winnipeg and Colorado is like the defense of the dark arts teacher in Harry Potter. Like it's this rotating cast. Like no one seems to stick. Terrible things happen to them. But anyway, yeah. Top targets. I feel like this is pretty easy. Nathan McKinnon, Cale Makar, duh. Martin Necas, Landeskog. Nice to see him back. We'll have some more on him in a second. Mackenzie Blackwood, without a doubt. I took him in the 5-hole league. Was very happy to have him again. Secondary targets. I feel like Nichushkin is kind of like the border between like a top target and a secondary pick, but definitely Devontae's, Brock Nelson. You could probably also throw Lehkonen in there too. But projected power play units, you got to think McKinnon, Makar, locks. Necas, probably a lock. Landeskog, I would say is a lock. Now Nichushkin, I feel like that spot maybe a rotating cast. I don't know, JD. You agree with Nichushkin? Do you think he's a lock, or maybe we see some other faces in there throughout the season?
I think when I was looking at the names, a lot of the ones I was trying to find, I guess not a lot of the ones, more so I was trying to find value. And I would say Colorado's pretty accurately valued.
Hmm.
It's it's really it's really difficult to look at the winger, any winger, I'd say, even on this Avalanche team, and wonder if they are doing well because they are with McKinnon or if they're doing well because they are quality players.
Right.
And to play to that, obviously, when we saw last season the Rantanen trade, like even when Rantanen was on, I would say both the Canes and the Stars, like it wasn't. I think people saw him performing in the playoffs, the actual NHL playoffs, and kind of like ran away with, wow, this guy is just incredible and amazing on the Stars. But even in fantasy, Alan, we kind of saw that he didn't do like stunningly after he was traded away. Whereas Natchez, right
No.
after the trade, oh my goodness, he just kind of took off and
Well,
it's
I mean, it's funny you bring up those points. I mean, Natchez had already been redlining, and I remember like there were a lot of
right,
voices out there saying, trade him while he has value. Like this will
right.
not continue. And I mean, for me, I was glad that I hung on to him because it was like, sweet. I have like probably the one guy who's going to be stapled to McKinnon for the rest of the season.
And
But yeah, that's actually. Oh, sorry, I'll let you finish.
no, I was just following up because Natchez is the most recent example. But Alan, if we like extended one season prior, again, Nishushkin had that same setup where he was like ranked number 3 or 4 across all players in terms of performances, performing metrics, peripherals, delivering on peripherals as well with hits. And then he got hurt, right? And when he got hurt, clearly he plummeted down the standing, so many other things, and he didn't come back identical. But it's just when you look at this team, Natchez did it last season. Nishushkin the year prior. Colton even in 24-25 in the very beginning when there were injuries abounding. Dude had like, I think,
For a minute, he did it because everyone else was dead.
and the question really remains is that this team is those guys you mentioned, Alan. Like you said, those 4 names at the start: McKinnon, Makar, and then it's the question after Natchez. It's do we think, like, we haven't said his name too much now, but Landeskog, right? That guy's a power
Oh
play.
yeah, I will. Yeah, no. We'll definitely get to that.
Let's
Um,
roll on. Let's roll
yeah.
on.
So that's kind of my question mark for this team is how do the wings look? We could probably assume again Natchez will be stapled to McKinnon, but after that, how does the kind of the rest shake out? They even have Victor Olofsson now. Who did they make kind of a depth piece for that third line? Excuse me. But the early lines out of camp today, one of the many I saw. So line one was Nichushkin, McKinnon, Natchez. And then line two was Landeskog, Nelson, Lehkonen. I've heard talk of Lehkonen to line one, or not like Lehkonen to line three, and then Olafson line one with McKinnon. I've heard that thrown out there. But no, I would say, or even the way I could almost see it too is Lehkonen, McKinnon, Nacus, Landeskog, Nelson, Nichushkin. But they have now a little bit of depth they can play around with, which is good for the real team, kind of bad for us as far as cost certainty and how we value these players.
Yeah, I think I tapped it into the notes there. I'm trying to like scroll down and snag it, but basically the issue is more so that there are 5 names that are kind of valuable, like outside of those core, I guess the core 2, core 3. Let's say we throw Natchez, because Natchez, as I want to say it, is ADP. He's at ADP 49, kind of, I would almost say, at risk of the other way. Like he's almost at risk of overvaluation, right? Because
Hmm.
any of the remaining 4 guys, Landeskog, Lekin, and Nishushkin, Colton, if any of them play amazingly or there's an injury at any point, they could definitely supplant. And those guys, all of them. So Landeskog, okay, I guess I won't start with Landeskog. So in terms of draft ADP, Nishushkin is right now at 99. Lehkonen is at 163. Colton is at 165. And Landeskog is at 169. Like, there is no way you're looking at any of those ADPs and then afterwards thinking, yeah, you know what, Nature's at 49. That's great value. But I think Landeskog at 169 is
Oh,
insane
that's
value.
insane value. That's actually, I know I have that later down. But yeah, moving on to storylines, yeah. For me, yeah, big storyline for Colorado is the return of Landeskog. Like it sounds like he will be. The intention is for him to be a permanent fixture on the team. But he did show up in that first round for or in the playoffs. He had 4 points in 5 games, did 17, 13 time on ice. And then within the last couple days, Bednar just announced there was going to be no limits on his minutes. So it's going to be as much as he can handle. Which
And
will
I
be
mean,
awesome. I think that easily, I don't know, to me, I don't know for you, Jay, but a 60-point floor at least for someone like that. It's definitely where he was before. Do you think 60 is too low, too high, or
he's a point per game guy historically. So I think 60 points could very, very be like that sweet spot, like expectation. And if anyone was giving you 60 points at 169 ADP, that is crazy value. And further to that, the fact that he is a career points per game player and giving you that sort of upside swell. I looked at the guys that were being drafted ADP 168, 170, and I think it's like Noah Hannafin and Ajay Kopitar. You know, like Noah Hannafin pretty capped in terms of what the Golden Knights are going to give him minutes wise, and Kopitar,
yeah?
I think he announce his retirement like at the end
Yes,
of this.
today. This is his last season. And then Hannafin actually, I saw Vegas's lines today, and they had him in what looked like the third line with Sod and someone else. I think that Wild Bill Carlson was up on line two with Stone, and I forget who was on the left wing.
Like those guys that are getting drafted in that sort of area, they're offering you stability, but none of them are going to offer this Landeskog upside. Mind you, Alan, wouldn't it be
Yeah.
funny if we said this and then he got he got
Dude,
consistently drafted
don't put
above?
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. Whose value is going to shoot up, and then yeah, Circular. I love the name of his team, Playoff Treebeard. Fits in
For
nicely with the
sure.
Lord of the Rings theme. Yeah, 121 for Landeskog, which I still think is insane value for
For
someone like
sure.
that.
For sure. It's the upside, right? And I guess what we're telling our listeners, any listener here, is fantasy hockey has a very similar setup to actual hockey, which is in a salary capped league or in, like drafts in which everything is known and constrained. There's no, this everything's seen and out in the open. It's just about guys you have that are outperforming the value of their contracts or outperforming their ADPs or anything. Landeskog is an insanely valuable outlier,
Oh yeah,
especially on this team,
I want to say
especially
back
at ADP.
when like he was in, he's playing
fantasy
consistently.
relevant, yes.
I want to say he went like third-ish round for
I
some
want to say,
reason.
yeah, third or fourth round. I
That's where
just
I'm recalling him getting taken usually.
all those seasons back, I distinctly remember taking Landis. This is back when the Avs were quite poor in terms of how their team was constructed and set up and how they performed. But I remember taking Landeskog before Rantanen. That's just how like even their value was back when they were in their playing days, right? Which is insane to stay out loud. And if you flame me, you are accurate and correct in blaming me. But that's just how high Landeskog was and how undervalued Rantanen was. But that's the scale for any listeners out there that are newer to fantasy hockey. Like Gabriel Landeskog is drafted at 169 in no small part because people have forgotten, not
Yeah.
necessarily because his ability is absent.
And I'm sure a lot of us are waiting to see, like, is he gonna play? Like, how's he doing? Like, he did play those playoff games, but did he re-aggravate? So who knows?
He did also get his quad cut with the skate. Like let's be frank here too. Like the
Oh yeah,
reason
that
he's
was
not
serious. And
playing,
then it
yeah,
sounded like at the slightest setback, he could have been just done.
yeah.
So I understand why they took so long. But yeah, so we'll move on here. Breakout candidates. I have Brock Nelson as a lowercase breakout. I just feel like the quality of the team around him is just exponentially better than the Islanders. He pretty much has no competition for that 2C spot. And you got to think if McKinnon is out, misses any time at all, hello, 1C, probably power play one on the abs. Like that's not a bad spot to be. Yeah, 56 points in 80 games last year. I definitely see 60 as a nice target for him. And Jay, man, yeah, it looks like you have a few to make up for just one, me just having one.
No. Like I I definitely think in terms of breakout candidates, it really depends who you take out of those wingers. And I want to say, um, pick your poison. You know what I mean? Like you get the guy at 160 whatever ADP, and it turns out that Natchez Lehkonen, Landeskog, Nichushkin, or I'm even going to throw Colton in there for like a brief period of time. You get any of those guys, and they perform at any stretch. Let's say 5 weeks, 4 weeks of value. That's the difference between you being first or playoff out of the playoffs. That's the difference between, making the playoffs barely or, planning ahead for next season. But, and the huge but basically is all of those guys in Colorado at the moment, you already know the guys that are going to be staple to your team. That's it. Where you are looking for value really is that remember Colorado aside from Edmonton is the only team that has three guys like last season and prior for the past however many fantasy years there were three guys on that team that could be drafted top I want to say top 2 top
Top two
3 rounds.
rounds, yeah.
Yeah, top 2 rounds. There was what McKinnon, Makar and Rantanen pretty much
Random.
in that order. Where you view Natchez will heavily skew your perspective of me because Natchez is a really unique player right now,
I was
Alan.
gonna
I
say, so
don't
are you almost saying that this is like Nature's breakout season and that last season was not real breakout?
what I mean is that Natchez is you could make an argument and fill an encyclopedia either way, which way, and we don't know until he plays where he's going to fall because he's right now ADP 49. But ADP 49 means he's ranked what, fourth round, fifth round, depending on how many are in your league, roughly.
That's the price tag for him. That is
That's the
that is
price tag for him.
supply demand. Like, yeah,
But objectively speaking, if we're going to look at what this team was able to do with their third ranked player for so many seasons in this sort of setup and this sort of thing, the cap was they can have enough points on this team for three guys to be top 2 rounds in terms of value. So from that perspective overall, right? I'm not saying I'm a Natchez worshiper, but I'm definitely saying if you can see Natchez, you know, not clipsing, but even just equaling what Renton was able to produce on that team, 49 is pretty damn good value, Alan. I'm gonna say like
Oh,
49.
oh, so okay,
Holy smokes.
so you're saying if he hits what Brandon's point totals were season after season, that is the
49 would
breakout
be
for
crazy.
him.
Like there is still room to break. But having said that, at the same time, like let's say what Natchez has been doing, right? Like let's say last season was an outlier and it's more average to what he would have done across the season. 49 is quite a bit. You're you're looking at some pretty consistent performers around the 49 mark.
Yeah,
I'm just even pull Nate just to see who at around his area right now would you be taking instead of him.
I would say
If
it'd be what probably guys like Hagel, just
well,
a homer pick, or
Nick Suzuki, Connor
yeah.
Bedard, right? Like guys where you could also argue would those guys have, like
Oh
run
God,
up and
no, no,
upside.
definitely not Bedard. I mean, what do we think? Bedard probably another 60-ish point season. Like,
Kempe,
mm, Kempe, I would value a little differently. But I think I lost Jay
52.
there.
Oh, sorry.
Kempe at
I,
52.
I was just saying, yeah, Kempe at 52, Barkov at 53. Would those names
I
be
would say it
stronger
it
floors?
depends on your league settings. Like pure points, Natchez is probably better than has the higher ceiling.
That's
If
the thing.
we're saying Rantanen is the comparable,
Right.
yeah,
So it's a weird one where I would say in terms of breakout candidates, like all of those guys that we're saying in terms of winning fantasy leagues, you want guys that are crazy on like crazy for God, like just whatever. But you also want guys where if they're at a middling point, they have avenues to actually shoot up and rocket to the moon. And Natchez is a weird one. Natchez is probably it depends on where we stand, and we won't know until 3 weeks from now.
yeah, at
Where do you
least,
stand,
at
Alan?
least. Yeah, no, I'd say it'll be interesting to see if he replicates it. I think he was about 80-ish point per game.
Yeah.
Yeah, with a full season, full camp with the abs. Does that shoot up? Like, yeah, I know. I could easily there is a path to him filling those Rantanen shoes, and if you got him at 49 and he becomes like a top 10-ish,
Oh
top
yeah.
12-ish player, that is even at that point is value.
One more
Um,
question I was going to have before we move on
yeah.
to Alan, which is where do you stand on the concentration versus diversification train?
You mean talent, I assume?
I'm talking roster construction, as in
Oh,
if you were constructing your roster, and let's say you were in a state where you had a McKinnon or a McCarr on your team, and it rolled around to you, do you diversify into other teams or do you concentrate
see,
into the
I
Natchez or
stack, build a
Landeskog?
stack.
Yes.
So I'm guilty there. I think in the first 3 rounds of the 5-hole league, the tier I'm in, I Kucherov and Hedman. Like I am stacks where they make sense. And that would be, yeah, if you could have an ab stack. Actually in a friggin', which is why I have like such a I don't know, a little bit of PTSD against the abs because in the keeper league I was in for a lot of years, there was a gentleman who had McKinnon and Rantanen for years, and that was just insane to try to play against every week, or well, those weeks.
And
Um,
truthfully, I'm with you, Alan. Like, I think diversification, we like the concept of like keeping your eggs, whatever. But truthfully, not all teams are constructed the same, and not all
no.
teams and stacks are equally destructive.
And I
If
think
you
even last year, I saw a lot of teams where it was just like, yeah, first overall would get McDavid, and then a lot of times they would luck out, and Bouchard would roll back to them on the end of the second round, which that's not the worst stack to have.
or
Yeah,
Hyman for a
stat.
while, right?
Wow. I feel like that might have been overvalued. I don't know. Yeah,
Hyman also had a tougher go
stacks are their own rabbit hole. But no,
for sure.
yeah, stacks where they make sense. But yeah, I would say the abs are a team where if you can stack a couple of those guys, yeah, you're not gonna be kicking yourself most weeks.
And I would even say
Um,
too, especially for the folks that are like the McCars or the McKinnons earlier on, if you listen to those ADPs we mentioned for like Landeskog and going down, just if you take them 140th or 100, 30th, if they're hanging around 121, as Circler was saying, like that is crazy value if you can add that to a stack too.
but moving on, yeah. Oh man, of course we were just talking about this guy. So regression candidates. I actually had Nietzsche's here. Yeah, like I said, last season we were screaming that he was going to regress at some point. But he ended the season last year on some career highs, but some of that could just be chalked up to the trade. Maybe on the Hurricanes, he would have crashed back to earth at some point. But yeah, career high in points, points, power play share, time on ice, coupled with his shooting percentage being like I think a point and a half above his career. Like there's room to regress, but with a better team than there probably was last year around him, I see a path where he could be like, yeah, draft at 49, but he finishes like a kind of like in the 10 to 15 range.
But what you said, Alan, right now is so factual too, right? Like this guy
Yeah.
could get drafted at 49, and it's like, why the heck did I take him instead
Yeah,
of
because
getting a
he's
Barkov or
such better players around him. Like he could, there's room for him to
crash down?
outdo
Like
that draft performance and or crash down to 70, 80 points.
if he gets his spot supplanted, let's say by Landeskog, it's
Yeah.
possible that both of them vulture each other, right? There's only one spot that you can take on the power play or on the line one, and if his upside is amazing on his own in a vacuum, but his upside might also come at the cost of Landeskog's, in vice versa. So there is the aspect in which Landeskog rocketing up might mean that like what if Natchez is actually only like 90th ranked overall? You took him 5 rounds
I know,
ahead of
yeah,
what
that
he's
is
actually at.
someone did not perform to expectations. But yeah, value sleeper candidates. It sounds like we're both screaming Landeskog from the rooftop.
From the
Um,
same league, too, right,
yeah,
Alan?
exactly. So goalie deep dive on this team. I feel like, well, and actually news came out about that today. So yeah, Mackenzie Blackwood, absolutely the starter. They still have Scott Wedgwood. It was an amazing storyline last year. Like them just mixing up their goalie duo on the fly like that. Insane. Probably saved their season. But Mackenzie Blackwood is designated as week to week at the moment. Sounds like maybe like the first couple weeks, at least they expect him out. Doesn't sound like super long term. Uh, so I would say, yeah, this is probably, maybe you completely missed goalies or you just punted them a little too hard. Yeah, I would say probably take a look at Scott Wedgwood to start the season.
It's entirely dependent on how Mackenzie Blackwood's health or slate of health, so to speak, holds, right? Because this is not a guy that's, rocked in 60 games a season year in, year out. This is a guy that's,
He's
had
just
his fair
now starting to get back to that role. I mean, he was probably like the 1A for what that was worth on the Sharks, but you would think like as bad as they were, there was a strong potential to hurt himself trying to put up
and
the numbers he was.
I don't want to say anything negative about the Devils, so to speak, but it's kind of interesting to see Jack Hughes as well, where Jack Hughes, star on that team. It does seem that he's kind of having that same question mark of it's amazing, he's great,
There we go.
but he gets hurt
Just
like a fair amount.
and that's kind of what I thought I'd read circular in the chat is like Blackwood is currently hurt. I know it sounded like he was practicing kind of off to the side. But yeah, circular, I guess he's saying that they expect him to be fine for season start, which is good because I feel like I paid the premium for him. Like he did me solid last year as a pickup that I just rode the whole season.
To the
Um
championship, I'm gonna
that's
say
right.
as well.
uh and then prospects, I don't know. No one I would say that would have any fantasy impact. We have Nikita Prishpov. He's a 2024 late pick. They bought him 6 upside there, maybe like a PK guy, a Perifs guy. And then Jean-Luc Foudy, bottom 6 PK guy. Like no one really that could make the show and make like a huge fantasy impact.
I mean, these are not for the redraft leagues, is what Alan's
No,
basically
yeah, more
saying,
like
right? Yeah,
this is more fantasy or just I don't know if you're in one of those like 32 team leagues, like
dynasties.
dynasty
Yeah,
leagues, like yeah, this is where you have that in right.
it's scraping the barrel for
Yeah.
sure because that team is not going to be bad enough where their draft picks are exciting. I
Hopefully
don't think.
not. Like I know like I said last year, it's or like what happened last year, like everyone was dead and hey, Ross Colton, he's killing it. Um and then I think even he got hurt,
Yes,
if
he
I remember
did.
that right.
Yes, he did. That's how it ended.
But yeah, moving on to St. Louis, record 44-30-8 last season, fifth in the Central, 14th in the league. Goals for per game, 3.05 for 13th. Goals against, 2.84 for 22nd. Power play, 22.1%, 16th, right in the middle. Off nights, they have 32, so they're tied for sixth, so kind of on the higher end. Back to backs, they got 13. Off-season changes, yeah, they traded for Logan Malo. I'm not French enough to know how that's actually pronounced. Pia Suter,
Mayu? Is it? Is it Mayu? Anyways,
Mayu,
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know.
It's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, Pia Suter and Nick Bukestad. Subtractions, Zach Bolduc, Nick Letty, Ryan Sutter. Didn't re-sign anyone. There we go, Mayu. Okay.
Mayu.
I was just like, I don't want to pronounce it like it's Caillou, and then people are like, what are these guys doing? Um, but yeah, I guess that was one of my guesses. So top targets here. Yeah, I think this is a much shallower team as far as like high value guys. Rob Tom, probably the premier guy. Easily, I think a lot of projections have him for like 80, 90 points, which I don't know. It's getting harder and harder. I know in the past we would joke about like Rob Thomas is just like a freaking mirage, but he's been a mirage for a lot of seasons, and maybe there's some real to it. Uh Jordan Cairo, and Jordan Bennington is yeah, I would say yeah, top target, but I would say a value top target. Secondary targets, yeah, Jimmy Snuggerand, who we'll probably mention a few times here. Cam Fowler, yeah, no, I agree there. Colton Pareko, in your like categories, bangers leagues. And yeah, like even those top targets, Rob Thomas, Jordan Caillou, I think those are value top line guy or top six guys. I don't think Kyrie and Thomas play in the same line, but yeah, those are. I forget where they went in our tier. The 5 hole league is probably like I think someone took. I think around the 9-10 turn. Someone like they got taken. Oh, Pavel Buchnevich, yeah, try eligible in Fantrax. I forgot I added that. And someone who sees, yeah, quite a bit of top 6 minutes. But yeah, projected power play units. Rob Thomas, yeah, probably a lock there. And well, but this is one of these teams that kind of runs 2 units, so it's I don't know. I would say the unit that has Rob Tom is the power play one. Buchnevich, I think even out of camp early lines, Snuggerud was on power play one, Dylan Holloway, Camp Ballard, and the other unit supposed to be Neighbors, Shen. That's right. No, they did just re-sign someone, but it was like a depth signing. So anyway, sorry, I'm scatterbraining. Second unit, Neighbors, Shen, Kairu, Sutter, Volk. Um, question marks. For me, it was they squeaked into the playoffs last season. How much of that do we carry over? I mean, I know they got bounced first round, but it was they were playing against the President's Trophy team, the Jets. Like, so kind of wasn't a shocker, but that was the narrative around that series was hottest team versus best team. Like, who's going to come out on top, which is great because that's what the NHL playoffs are. Is just sort of it's not about always being the best. Is even the middling teams can upset these President's Trophy winners clubs. But yeah, was let's your take here, Jay.
And Alan, like the other part too is the Blues were up. What was it? 2-1, 2-0, or 3-1? It was 2-0, weren't they? It was 2-0 with like 4 or 5 minutes left in that game 7
And they just
against
didn't hold it.
the Jets. And like they score, I think they scored the tying goal. Like they pulled the goalie twice and scored the tying goal and whatnot. Like the Blues basically should have won the game. Like all the permutations of all those things. Oh, I'm so sorry, Rico. but to me to say essentially is this team was friggin' amazing. I mean, like, I don't want to bring up other painful memories, Rico, either, but like, wasn't there like that? What was that tournament? It was called the Four Nations tournament or whatever.
Yeah.
And was like their goalies were literally Canada against USA as well, right? And like
Oh yeah,
Canada.
Bennington Hellebuck was that the
Yeah,
matchup?
yeah. And Bennington prevailed and everyone talked him up. It was amazing. And then Hellebuck prevailed in the playoffs, right? Like, so this whole setup and this whole team is basically too even in terms of fantasy relevance. That's the problem. This whole team, you list all those names. And we didn't even mention like Neighbors, who's currently out. Like we didn't even mention what's the other guy? Like, we mentioned Holloway, right? But Holloway had like
Yeah.
a crazy breakout peripheral season last season with injury as well to dig into his point totals. They have that Snuggerud guy that we're talking about, and he's what, according to the odds, I think he's fifth, like in
I
terms
see.
of
Yeah, I saw you had
chances.
that in your notes. Fifth. I mean, the shoot. That's actually, I think that's what you have
That's
as a
insane.
storyline. Is that yeah, like the Blues who at least made it to the playoffs last season. They had a guy who's fifth in Calder odds.
Ranked that has a chance, a genuine shot at winning the Calder, and he's stuck on a line, top line, power play line
Yeah,
together with points per game Robert Thomas. Like this, everything about this team, and I don't want to like blow into the idea of the Monty being the coach as well, but isn't this 2 seasons removed from a President's Trophy, almost like record-setting Boston Bruins led, like Boston Bruins led by Monty team? Like
yeah.
this is right. So
And that's oh man, that was a funny story last year. It's like, yeah, we fired you because our a hotter girl rolled into town. Sorry, bud. Um, but
like
yeah, then
seriously,
that's what I
I
have as my storyline is like a first full season of Jim Montgomery. He assumed the head coach position 23 games in. They went 35, 18, and 7 in that stretch, which wow, that's why everyone like, you know, coach firing is like the easiest lever to yank around and try and like shake things up. It worked in this case because Jim Montgomery's a good coach. Um,
like
but yeah, we'll see how that rolls into next season.
Alan, we're just talking on a podcast here, right? And so, like, it could be words in the wind, but I'm going to put it out there. Like, if you put all the pieces here, Boston basically had a superstar, an aging elite Selkie centerman. And those two guys, and sure, like Marchand was kind of injured that year as well, but those three guys in balanced scoring throughout the lineup with a great goalie tandem got them how many points under a Montgomery led system? This team, you could argue, as constructed on the Blues, maybe not in net, right? Like Binnington, I'd argue, is not as strong as that tandem that they had in Boston.
No, yeah, the Allmark Swayman tandem.
But if you were going to look through the rest of that top six, I'd argue even top nine lineup here on the Blues, isn't that a much stronger roster than what Montgomery was able to
Oh
do
yeah,
with
and that's what like
Boston?
yeah, how much of Boston was Montgomery's fault? Like at that point, like the wheels fell off.
Or how much of it was Montgomery's positive influence that led Boston to be able to do so well in 23?
Right, right,
If
for
he
sure.
gets a full season with the Blues, like this team could be
Yeah,
way
and
more than just.
The Blues definitely have the youth to do it. So yeah, they'll be interesting to watch.
And for any listeners here, if you're wondering, Snuggerud is not even ADP drafted, period. Like no one knows about this guy. He could win the Calder. You could get
There
him
you go.
off
Yeah. Yeah.
waivers.
There you go. So that's your breakout candidate. I also had Dylan Holloway, contract year magic man. Like that is typically what happens. These play their minds out for these contracts and then right off into the sunset in their golden wagons. Um, but regression candidates, I had Braden Shen. Like nothing super statistical or fancy there. But they did sign Pia Suter in the offseason. So there's kind of competition in that middle six for a role. I mean, the dude is well on the wrong side of 30 and sports ages. So yeah, I mean, I'd still say he has value in like bangers cats leagues. Um, but I don't know
Circler's
about any
question's
kind of,
good.
yeah,
Circler's
circular's
question's
question.
good.
And so, yeah, like I said earlier, I don't know if Jim Montgomery's going to play it differently, but in the last few years, St. Louis has been one of those teams where they just kind of juggle both two units. But yeah,
It's
I'd see there's still no Torrey Krug. I haven't heard anything about him other than he's not playing again this season.
I
I
forgot until I scrolled down on the daily face off, like that he was like still had the red exclamation
yeah,
mark. Like totally forgot. Alan, they have three guys that could reasonably argue. Anyone could reasonably argue that they take over power play one.
there's yeah. I mean, you even got Broberg back there in the in the
It's 4
wings.
guys, yeah.
Yeah, who was on the other
It's
unit?
like,
But yeah,
it's
Falk can do it.
I don't know who would be the guy, Alan. Like, right
I
now
think Fowler
it's
has the strongest
Fowler?
case, and I think I also I would also try to manifest that last season when he got traded to the Blues. Like I know I picked him up a few times as
For
kind of
sure.
like a stream. So I am manifesting Cam Fowler PP1 all
Because
season.
right now the other alternatives are Falk and Parayko, and
Yeah,
Parayko has that
not really a power
RHD
play guy.
advantage, but he has the RHD advantage,
Mm,
maybe, and then I think Falk has just always been that classic. Like he always gets either power play 1 or PK 1, and he might like swap the 2,
right.
so to
Well,
speak, and he
Falk, it
always
wasn't all
offers
that long
value.
ago. Like I remember he's one of my guys because he had like just without power play, he was one of those kind of unicorns where it was like he had more than 40, 45 points with
Right.
almost no power play time.
And
And he would put
specifically
up good periffs.
and specifically now in our cats leagues too, right? Like he covers so much more of those, like I guess coverages, so to speak, as opposed to, well, you could feasibly, honestly, stack guys exactly like Folk and heavy hammer the skater categories in a different strategy with category leagues this year,
Yeah.
right? Like it's a different angle in which maybe the question is less, regardless of whether or not Cam Fowler keeps a power play 1, do we want to say to listeners that a Pareko or Folk is still valuable to keep in on this team because they
In
are
certain
gonna.
leagues. Oh, in certain leagues, absolutely. It's based on scoring. But I would say, yeah, just stick strictly with power play 1. Cam Fowler.
Fowler.
I'm manifesting that. But yeah, I see your regression candidate here, Rob Tom, which we've already mentioned. Like he keeps doing it. Somehow he keeps doing it and he shouldn't. Um,
They're tied as well, right? Like Snuggerud is one of those ones where if Thomas continues to go, Snuggerud's probably going to be stable to him and they'll ride into
yeah,
the sunset together. And then if he regresses, then Snuggerud is also going to falter into.
they'll shuffle it, figure something out. And okay, yeah, value sleeper candidates. We both agree. Uh,
Yes.
Snuggerud, yeah, not even. I think you said he didn't even have an ADP. He
Give him an
did.
ADP, listeners. Give him an
He
ADP at least.
and in camp today, he did. He was on line 1 with Rob Tom. Uh, so that's a good sign at least. But yeah, I'm sure we'll probably do some kind of like preseason games, like trading camp reactions to things. Hope maybe that sticks, maybe it doesn't. Sample size of 1. So goalie deep dive, Jordan Bennington, Joel Hoffer. Yeah, obviously Bennington's your starter. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think? Do you agree? I think I was the one who put that there. Do you think 80-20 share is accurate there?
I think probably it would be like 65-35, right? Like
Okay.
at the core, this team is angling towards certain things, right? Like if this team is not going to be playoff bound, right? I'm just laying out the
Sure.
permutations here, right? Like if they're not going to be playoff bound, then this team is not going to ride down Binnington.
For
They'll
nothing.
give
Yeah.
Hofer more run because he's a younger dude. And then if this team is winning like crazy, it is, oh man, I swear I'm not shitting on Binnington, but like this team is not.
No,
This
no.
team is.
I keep trying to manifest his collapse too, and it hasn't happened for a few seasons.
Everyone loves what he did for Team Canada, and what he did for the second half of the season was great. But Alan, we've seen this for so many seasons in a row ever since they won. He's had some pretty middling times as well.
Oh no,
And
yeah.
if this Blues team crushes and levels everything, it's going to be because of their team depth, not because of their goalie standing on his head every game, every night. It's just not how it's going to structure. So they're going to be playing them on like probably a 60, 40, 65, 35 basis, and they're probably going to win regardless of whoever's in the crease. Further to that, it's an Olympic year this coming season.
Hmm.
He's not
Right.
going to, he's not going to be okay riding out, like, crashing out and then not having a chance to backstop Team Canada,
True.
which
I
I
think
do.
there's too much rivalry on the line here. Yeah, no,
He's
this could be an interesting
probably
year for him.
he's probably his crease to lose,
Oh
right?
yeah,
I would
100%.
guess.
For Team Canada or for the Blues?
For both, probably, right? Like, it's
Yeah,
probably his priest to lose either
Blues.
way.
It's 100% his to lose. Canada, I mean, I don't know. It's best of the best. So we'll see what
Yeah.
happens there. But prospects, yeah, we've been hammering Jimmy Snuggerud for the last 20 minutes.
The
Likely to
Logan
challenge
Mailloux que
for top six. Yeah,
the
I do
Logan
have
Mailloux
Logan
question.
Mailloux there. Could see NHL minutes this season, likely as like a bottom four pairing guy.
Fuck, Alan,
You know,
I don't wanna say it, but he probably would be, like, half decent value if this Blues have a good stream, you know what I mean? Like, this team is so balanced
mm,
that it's gonna go either one of two ways, right? Like, if this whole team takes off, most of the Blues are going to be taken, and you're gonna come into the Blues page, and there's gonna be a desert of
right.
no players available to pick up, and frig,
Braden
Mayu
Shen.
might range that, right? Yeah. It would be pretty dirt. It would be like an absolute desert for you to get to Logan Mayu. I will say that,
Yeah.
probably, in terms of expectation at this point.
And it's probably, yeah, deep league or a dynasty league of some kind.
Yeah.
Yeah, moving on to Minnesota. Record 45-37, fourth in the Central, 13th in the league. Goals for per game 2.74, 25th. Goals against per game 2.91 for 17th. Power play percentage 20.9 at 20th. Off nights 23, so they're ranked 28th, so bottom of the league there. Back to backs 14. Off-season changes. They added Tarasenko for what that's going to be worth. Nico Sturm, Cal Pedersen. It's
Pedersen?
only got
Yeah.
one T, so I think it's
Yeah.
Peterson.
Better.
And then Nick Aube Cabell, subtractions, Marc Andre Fleury, right off into the sunset. Freddie Gaudreau, Justin Brazeau, Gustav Nyquist, John Merrill, Devin Shore, Brandon Gauntz, Travis Boyd. And then they re-signed Marco Rossi, or was it Matt Boldy? I never remember. I don't know. I'm sure we'll get corrected eventually. But no, it was Marco Rossi. Top targets. I don't know. I feel like this list might be a little shorter than we think. Obviously, Kirill Kaprizov. And we have Matt Zuccarello on here. I feel like that's maybe kind of the border between top targets and secondary targets. Philip Gustafson, Gus Bus, yeah. Probably, I don't know, top 10 goalie, you think? Too high?
I'm kind of leaning, honestly, that in terms of top targets, you're going for different angles here, with one of which is which are your blue chips. Your blue chips
Right.
here, there's only 3 blue chips: Kaprizov, Gustafson, Boldy. Those are your blue
Agreed.
chips.
Agreed.
Everyone
Yeah,
else is
there's Brock
kinda
Faber in here.
no, no.
Nah.
You have pink sheets.
Jeek in like category bangers stat,
Yeah,
like
that's
Jeek,
true.
yeah, sneaky value there.
Yeah.
Yeah, circular. I agree. So sneaky, yeah, we have as a secondary target, Zeev Boyum. Definitely a lot of murmurs, whispers that he could take power play one, and that he's more just built for it.
Alan, how do
About
we say
time,
his name again?
Zeev Boyum.
Zeev Boyum. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
you got to remember because people lose their minds over these things. Um, as I have found out.
I'm looking it over and trying to sound it out over and over, and I'm like, Alan, just help me out here. Um, he's definitely the pink sheet, though. No, like he could be nothing, Alan.
I
Like
don't
he
know.
could
So,
be
yeah, that's been the problem with Minnesota's power play for a few years. Is they just haven't had a decent quarterback. So hopefully, yeah, Zeev comes in, seizes it, grabs it, takes it by the reins, doesn't let go, and they
but
finally
it's an
have
either
someone that's
or.
fantasy relevant.
But it's an either or. Like the dude could honestly be the second coming of Brock Faber and his famous free skates, or he could truly be the guy that takes off, gets like 50 points in a season or something, you know what I mean? And is like
Gets
amazing. Like,
overdrafted next season and then just vanishes.
right. Like he truly is the pink sheet guy where I think
Yeah.
I personally, in terms of Minnesota, I would lean toward exactly what Alan was saying, where it's like you have those 4 targets that you're going to go, yeah, these guys are great. And then if you're going to be drafting elsewhere, you probably just want to say, like, I'm going to go elsewhere and try to find value, or I'm going to dig in and try to like leverage hard on those pink sheets,
Yeah.
such as Aziz
Um,
William.
but projected power play unit, at least so far, with Kaprizov, however you want to pronounce it, Erikssonek, Zook, Boldy, and Faber. The other unit, yeah, this one makes a lot of sense. And again, these aren't like set in stone. This is preseason, so we can say whatever we want and just say we'll see as our preface. Marcus Johansson, Marco Rossi, Vladimir Tarasenko. I absolutely agree. Power play too. And that's where we have Z William for now, and then Jared Spurgeon. I agree that second unit looks about right, but yeah, it's very possible at some point in the season they give him a look. But what was it? I was trying to remember his name. I think it was Kalen Addison back in the day. Was supposed to be like the guy for them. Didn't pan out. Got traded to the Sharks and then fell off a cliff. So yeah, maybe this time. The question
Maybe.
marks. What's the deal with Kaprizov right now, man? Is he signing? Is he getting traded? Like, what is going on? There was that nice panic for like 4 or 5 hours one day when it was like, yeah, they just asked him for his trade list. It's like, whoa. But he did officially turn down. It was like an 8-year, 16 mil AAV deal. Yeah, that was a fun little Twitter storm. But in the last couple of days, I keep hearing things like, yeah, like his agent good talks at the team. Uh, I don't know. I feel like if he stays there, they're gonna pay a premium for him. If he moves on, ouch.
I mean, Alan, like, let's say the unspoken part out loud, right? Like 16 mil is higher than any other player has ever
Yeah.
been offered, I think, right? So if he is turning it down, it's not a money issue. And then on the flip side, again, he has a full no movement clause, which indicates maybe he just wants out, which I it's in his last year of a contract and he has a full no movement clause. Like what can people do? Like is it not just his choice?
I don't know. I'm just starting to think it's typical pre re-signing gossip. But I mean, I don't know, with the cap jumping up as much as it's supposed to in like the next few seasons, like I know I've seen a lot of headlines around like, is this the beginning of an era where we see a lot of stars move? Because certainly
Right.
teams may have some cap space to accommodate that. Um,
This is a crazy off season
yeah,
of free agency though. Like the names that are flying
I was gonna
off the
say, you
list
mean that
is
nothing happened because everyone had money to spend? This was boring. Like free agency day, that was. I mean, what are we? I think who's the only guy we're talking about still? Like Jack Roslovic. Like I think he is like the next hottest dude right now. Um,
well
who knows?
what I meant is like the coming one, right? Like 2026.
This
Like
would, yeah. I mean, but hopefully,
it's
yeah.
just
Hopefully, it's
crazy.
not a repeat where it's like, oh my god, are we gonna see Mitch Marner go to free? No, he's already traded and signed.
No,
Sorry,
but
show's
what I
over.
mean
Pack
is
it in.
what I mean is though, like if you look at the names, like assuming nobody signs from now on, McDavid, Panarin, Bobrovsky, Eichel, Ovi is whatever, we'll say his name anyway, Makar, Kaprizov, like all of those guys are entering free agency this coming summer, right? Like, so if you're angling from that perspective, it definitely makes sense on the side of Kaprizov, where if he's not 100% sold on wherever he is, or even if he is 100% sold, going to the open market and trying to up his,
Dude,
up
the
his
comment
stock.
I saw today is he's gonna go like he's. This is just comment. It's not. It's pure speculation. Whatever. Like the comment was, yeah, he's totally going to New York, and Panarin's like getting Panarin's money. I don't know. Um, So,
Interesting.
but yeah, we did see early lines in camp today. Kaprizov, Rossi, Boldy is your line one. Um, and I don't know if I consider this like their third line, but yeah, is the third line. They had Ogren, Erikssonek, and Tarasenko.
What was the first
Um,
name?
Ogren.
Ogren. Oh,
It's
okay.
some guy that's like not super fantasy relevant unless you're
Okay. Okay.
scraping the bottom of the barrel. Um, which is kind of this team is. Like, it gets really shallow really quick. Oh, Zuccarello didn't practice, so yeah, he could be in there somewhere.
Alan,
But
this
yeah,
team
that's the
is
second line is weird, but I don't trust that. It seems like a lot of the top end players didn't practice today on some of these lines. But yeah, third
Minnesota's
line is where I'd put Tarasenko.
Minnesota is not that crazy exciting of a team in the sense that the top dudes do so much heavy lifting
Yeah. So that's why if
that
they lose Kaprizov, they just pack it in, man. Like it's
yeah.
bottom half of the league for the next couple of years.
For a
Um,
guy like him to offer up that play production at what? It was 9 million right
yep,
now. That's his ABV, right? Yeah. I don't know if there's
sounds
any
right.
other superstar they'll get that can do that to be honest for them in a small market as well.
But yeah, actually, as a breakout, strangely, I kind of have Kaprizov because it is a contract year. And then last season, dude, they just before he got hurt, he was taking as many minutes as he could chug. Like, and it was working for him. Like he was scoring. But yeah, I would say between contract and just sort of the tendency last season to just put him on the ice as much as he wanted to be on the ice, like I would consider that some sort of breakout, especially if he can keep it together, stay healthy the whole season.
He had 56 points in 41 games. Simple arithmetic means if he played the full damn season, he would have ended up with 112 points, Alan. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
easily 100
Holy
plus point
smokes.
guy if he can stay healthy all season.
Holy smokes.
Regression candidates, I have Matt Zuccarello, old man Zook. His points have been trending down since 22-23, and so has his ice time. Yeah, I don't think he's aging quite as gracefully as oh man, I'm drawing a blank on the start. Pavelski, old man Pavelski.
Pavelski. Yeah. Um, I guess in terms of regression candidates, like this is the one where I was mulling over as well, where like Marco Rossi, he's he's played 2 straight seasons of 82 games. And the first season he got 40 points, and the second season he got 60 points, which is quite a big jump. So reasonably speaking, last season you could attribute his growth and his jump in no small part because Jeek was also out for pretty much half the season. And so there was a lot more available ice time and a lot more opportunity unlocked. I think Marco Rossi at some point was getting like line one power play one. Like that's how much he was getting in terms of value as like a guy that was undrafted. But yeah, Alan, I'm pretty sure I remember us in our notes saying Marco Rossi whenever Minnesota had like any valuable
Was it?
schedule to set up.
I feel like for years he was one of those. It was him or Matt Boldy, which again is why I get the two of them confused. That it was always like this is going to be their breakout. This is their breakout season, and it was like 55, 60
It,
points.
yeah, no, it wasn't.
I
No.
can't remember if that was Rossi or Boldy.
It's it's tough, honestly, because Minnesota is so top heavy that I
Yeah,
don't remember all the variegated individuals that filter through the rest of the top six and the top nine. But definitely just looking at a stat where there's a guy that got a 20-point increase over 2 years, and then I'm seeing that Jeek was healthy all of year one and then not healthy all of year two. We're basically either banking that Jeek is going to get unhealthy for half the season again in order for Marco Rossi to get the run he's getting, or I'm going to say he's not going to get the minutes he's got and he's not going to be able to put up the points because
and
he
then they
played
still have
every
Ryan Hartman that they like to sometimes slide in a line one. Yeah, I don't know.
right. Who
I don't
also was
know.
hurt at points last season too, which might have also played a role with the two of them being out to Marco Rossi's points going up. Both of them are back and healthy now. Where is he going to get the minutes to play, you know, L1
Who
PP1?
else do they have? And then value sleeper candidates. Yeah, we've been hammering on him the whole time. Zeev Boyum. Someone to watch list or grab late, but it looks like he actually has ADP here, Jay. You have 139. And yeah, Jeek, if you're in like a categories bangers league, is just completely under the radar sleeper center, which is nice. If I'd like to punt centers, just because you can find guys like this so late in the draft. That like it's either if you can't. My philosophy is if you can't get one of those like elite centers, in like that first round or something. Like, give it a minute, you'll be able to get guys like Jeek.
And the thing is, like, he may not be elite in terms of his ADP, but Jeek's line mates, what's it like? ADP 6, ADP 33. That's Cap Kaprizov. That's Boldy. I don't know. I honestly can't think of another center drafted that low that has that upside
Yeah,
access to top wingers that same way.
I would say, like, kind of. I mean, you could almost maybe if Ovi was younger. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
I like there was guys like Dylan Strome. I liked to
for
grab
sure.
like super late. That had the nice upside. But goalie deep dive, yeah. Starter Philip Gustafson. So I actually originally had this as my storyline for the season is a Wallstead season. It looks like Jesper Wallstead finally get a nice look with Flower retiring. I've seen talk that maybe they kind of split to start the season, see what they have in Wallstead, because in his AHL and limited NHL time, he's been kind of inconsistent. And yeah, as we know, goalies, they can be all over the place in a small sample size. But you got to think they ride Gus into the ground unless Wallstead really takes off.
If Cap does not sign, they have to ride Gustafson into the ground and
Yeah.
try to go for the cup
And
this
hope
year
they
because
can just
do
defense into
something.
the ground. Oh, well, here we go. That's why we didn't recognize the name. Liam Ogren is one of their higher end prospects. He's a 2022 pick. 24 games last season. Probably, yeah, there we go. And that's so that makes more sense that it's line three. It's what I found was he could start the season on line three, maybe move up if the opportunity presents itself. And yeah, like I said about Wallstead, mixed AHL, NHL starts, but there's definitely an opening with um Fleury's retirement. And then last, David Juracek. Got to think he gets some looks after he kind of chased himself out of town in Columbus and kind of like, I am better than my ice time demonstrates. I need opportunity and forced to trade. So I will see. Even then, he kind of bounced up and down last season. So I don't know. I don't know. So last team of the night, we got the Utah Mammoth, as they are now referred to, whose color scheme is totally legally distinct and in no way resembles any other podcast or anything out there. But their record is 38, 31, 13. They were sixth in the Central, 19th over on the league. Goals for per game, 2.94, 21st. Goals against per game, 3.06 at 16th. The power play, yeah, nice bright spot there, 24.2, so 10th. Off nights, 37. That, that's a lot. It's actually second. That's a lot, yeah. Back to backs, they have 11. So off season, they added Nate Schmidt, Brandon Tanev, who just took his picture for the season. He is still seeing ghosts. No.
He's got to be
Uh,
doing this on purpose at this point.
oh yeah, it's purpose because he sees ghosts. JJ Paterka and Vitek Vanacek. Subtractions, yeah, Josh Stone in that Paterka trade, Robert Bortuzzo, Nick Bukestad. Matthias Michelli, he didn't leave. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Duh, I'm thinking someone else. Michael Carcone, JJ Coronar, and Michael Kesselring. Um, yeah, I don't think they had anyone to resign. Top prospects. I actually agree with this list. Clayton Keller, I feel like, yeah, top forward. Mikhail Sergachev, probably, I don't want to say elite, but I feel like he begins the tier of defensemen. Like, you have the elite defenseman. I feel like he starts the tier of defenseman where the individual player is good, but the team around him may not be as good, but he's just going to get a crap ton of ice time as a result. Logan Cooley, JJ Paterka, Dylan Gunther, Dilly Guns, and then secondary targets. Yeah. Nick Schmaltz, Sean Dursey, Carol Vamilka. Oh, oh, interesting. Yeah, I guess I never thought. Anyway, I'll get to it. So projected top unit, Clayton Keller. I feel like that's a lock. Dylan Gunther. I feel like that's a lock. Sergachev. I feel like that's a lock. I don't know. Cooley and Schmaltz. I feel like those may not be locks per se, especially with the addition of Paterka. Barrett Heaton kind of seems like the line one center. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like Keller, Gunther, Sergachev are the locks. What do you think, Jay?
I'm Alan, I do this every year. I swear, whenever we do the pod, I look at the team and it's like, wow, this team is amazing. This team could do so well. I could see this team going all the way. And like,
In a couple of years.
I, and the thing I will say is when I look at this team, they've done their part to have upside. That top line right now is constructed. What is it? Keller, Cooley, Peterka.
Did I? Here we go. They had the lines I got out of camp, so I don't know which is which. This is just a nice, solid top six. So, as the quote top line, they had Gunther, Cooley, Paterka. Line two is Keller, Hayton, Schmaltz. I feel like they just spread the depth.
Okay.
But
Which
Clayton Keller is like the best forward in the team, so I feel like
100%.
the Keller line is the top line.
And secondly, I would say too, it depends if Paterka beds in well, if Paterka takes some time. Like, what was their stat again? Like teams that are in playoff position by game
Thanksgiving.
20 are pretty much in playoff position usually anyway, like 80% of the time. This team was topsy-turvy last season, but we could chalk that up to, young guns, they moved locations, there's other things. But my goodness, Alan, like Logan Cooley, I didn't realize how much better his sophomore season was compared to the rookie season. Like I looked at that stat. I'm gonna see if I still have his page up. Oh yeah, I do. Season 1, he pulled in 44 points in a full 82 games. Pretty much 1 point every 2 games, right? Like, but it's his rookie season. You know what I mean? He still was all rookie, all that jazz, whatever. Second season, he gets a full 2 minutes more of ice time, and then he's at 65 points in 75 games.
And I think some projections have him like 70, 80. So is this the breakout season for him?
He's a 20-year-old. Like, if he does what he does, exactly the same, no improvements, and then all you do is slap on Paterka in the same team, add his point totals and stuff too, this team probably is, challenging for a wild card just by
Yeah.
virtue of extra point production.
Oh man, and that was my question mark was can this team make the playoffs this year? They were 7 points back from wild card 2, but I don't know, man, that central division is just battle dome in the West. Like you got the Stars, you got the Blues, who we were just talking about, like we expect them to do well. You got the Avs, like it's gonna be, I mean, maybe the Central gets both wild cards. I don't know.
It would be a bloodbath for sure. But then the other question that we haven't even unlocked is all of the things we said are assuming Logan Cooley as that L1 C1 L1 plays his sophomore season identical. If his junior season shows the same trajectory of even lateral, if not exponential growth, Alan, like this team could be making some serious noise.
I mean, this will be a team to watch for sure. Absolutely.
Sure.
And then like I joked about, maybe not this season, but maybe one,
Right.
2, 3 seasons on the road. Like this is a strong contender, which is something the Coyotes were probably never going to be.
We know
Unfortunately.
they have a points per game guy already. And I want to even say, like, if you look across the league in general with such parity, if you get one guy that is points per game, generally speaking, it's a hit or miss. There's no guarantees, right? But no, even one guy on points per game could get you pretty far and deep. Now, honestly, all the outliers are floating in my mind. Like I'm thinking about Boston, they didn't make the playoffs, they have 90 points and all that jazz. But if Alan, I think you get two guys that make 90 points, like get
Right.
rid of Keller. If you
Oh,
get
that's crazy.
Cooley going up, how many teams have two 90-point guys and can't sniff playoffs? I feel like there aren't that many teams.
Not no. No. Um but yeah, that's there we go. We talked about that. So breakout candidates. I I have Cooley, who we just talked about, but I also have Barrett Hayton because they're both RFAs on a contract year. So I'm manifesting that contract year magic. Regression candidates, and kind of to your point there, you just talked about. Clayton Keller had 90 points. There were 3 guys in the 60s. Younger team. I don't know if anyone truly regresses this season. Um, but
Well,
plenty of guys who could break out.
Okay. Let's pull him up. And I know he's one of TJ's like stalwarts. Oh no, maybe that
Or
or
Nick
Freddie.
Schmaltz.
Yeah. Well,
I
like,
think Nick Schmaltz is one of those guys. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Circular. We'll definitely get to that. He brought up Carter
oh,
Hart. Yes. Yeah, we'll get to
oh,
that in the goalie section here in a second. But yeah, no, it was like, yeah, I looked it up. It was Clayton Keller with 90 points, 3 guys in the 60s. Um, and it
I
was,
might
yeah,
rescind what I said about Schmaltz because I do think looking at Schmaltz's thing, Schmaltz has always been basically points per game, but he doesn't stay healthy. So he
yes.
plays 60 games, he gets 60 points. Now last season, last past 2 seasons, he's played like 80 games, 82 games, and he's pulled in 60 points. So um, maybe that's just his ceiling. Maybe that's just what he does.
It's like, yeah, it's like Druin. It's like, yeah, 40 points, but yeah, you missed like 2/3 of the season, buddy.
Right. Yeah. But if he didn't, then you totally just, you could extrapolate and it doesn't always work that way. Alan, I don't know. Maybe this whole thing after our whole talk just boils down to can Logan Cooley make the sophomore to junior jump? If he can, I think this is a playoff team and that's it.
Okay. Well, okay. So I again, I would almost think that at that point, the Central gets both wild card spots out west, like because that
Right.
Central division is nuts. I feel like, yeah, I could see. Yeah, we'll
They
see.
also have two terrible teams in
Yeah,
it. That might be
there we go. Yeah,
why.
Nick Schmaltz is points or nothing. I totally
Right.
agree with that. It is that is your perennial stream. Whenever the Coyotes slash Mammoth have a good schedule. But value sleeper candidates, I have Veg Melka. He proved last year he could handle that starter's workload with Connor Ingram out. It also did not help him. I think the value is low on him. The team took a lot of penalties. In fact, the team had the second most time on the PK combined with like a PK that was ranked 25th. Like, dude wasn't getting help. But a lot of their decor was injured. Like, I think Dursey was out for most of the season. I know Sergachev missed a few games. Yeah, it's
He also had
those things hurt.
one. He also had one shut. Like I don't know how many games he started out, like at least over comfortably 40, 45 games, and he
Oh,
had
at least, yeah.
one shutout, right? So
And that'll
that
be another thing contingent or another contingency or something that could stand in the way of the playoffs is health. Um,
right for
and
sure.
riding
But
bench milk into the ground.
but just if you have 26 wins and one shutout, it indicates that your team is basically winning solely on the backs of firepower out smoking the other opposition, and maybe that's another point where they've had Sergachev out last season for points and periods of time as well, right? Where if that bill of health affects not just the crease but also the blue line, then maybe that makes a huge difference. Because Sergachev wasn't he praised as the Hedman successor at one point?
There
Like
was,
that's
yeah, at one point and there was actually though this whole story that came out later on that when they brought Jeff Blashill in, like apparently that kind of was taken from him and yeah, like
oh
Cooper had to kind of talk Sergachev like off the ledge. It's like, dude, just yeah, be a team player, man. It's cool. It's cool. Don't worry about
holy
it.
smokes! I did not know
And they got
that part.
traded.
Okay,
Yeah,
and they
there was
traded
an
him.
interview out there that Sergachev was not a fan of having that power play one taken from him after that one season.
Got you. Okay.
But anyway, back to Utah. Yeah, they did add some middle six scoring in Paterka, and then hopefully, yeah, they have a lot of young guys. Like, hopefully, some of them will take off, like Lawson Krause, Matias Michelli. Yeah, that's right. That's different from no, there was someone else. Man. Okay. All right. So I got stuff mixed up. Anyway, moving on. Goalie deep dive. So yes, this is where some of the stuff circulars thrown in the chat. Yeah, I definitely want to make sure to mention. Jay, we both agree Benjamelka is the starter.
Agreed.
Vanacek is the backup. Could maybe, I don't know, if Vimelka stumbles a little bit, maybe I could see this being a much closer start ratio, like 55-45, 60-40. But yes, Circular brought it up in the chat. Utah has been floated as one of the potential landing spots for Carter Hart, who was in that Junior Hockey Canada scandal, whatever. Not the place to discuss everything that
Yeah.
happened there. But him and it was like a half a dozen other guys. They I think they can sign contracts in a few days, a couple weeks.
As in they are
They can't.
legally allowed to play in
They
the
can play.
NHL? Okay, okay,
Yes.
okay.
But they cannot play until December.
Got you.
Uh, so
Got you.
yeah, Carter Hart is one of those gentlemen. Utah, I think it was like Utah, Carolina, and like one other. Yeah, they can sign in October.
Inside
Um,
October.
Utah, Carolina, and I think like one or two other spots were rumors for um,
So
Carter
the main
Hart.
one, the
So if they get him, that's nice. They would definitely have a pretty good 1A 1B.
right, and then that would also ruin the veggie stonks that we were saying, right? In terms
Yeah.
of him being the undisputed. Yeah, for sure. Can condition in the
And
AHL
then
in November, can play in the NHL in December.
nice. And
Yeah,
I've heard I was reading that Carter Hart has been getting an ice time where he can. So it's not like it's Jonathan Tays who thinks he can step into the ice at like 3,800 or whatever he is and think he
right.
can be a 2C. Um yeah, and then the other big development, I actually had this as a kind of a storyline was Connor Ingham has come off of the player assistance program, um, but it sounds like that he's kind of looking for another change of scenery. They placed him on. They're supposed to place him on waivers today, I think it was. I haven't heard anything about anyone claiming him yet, but
Yeah,
they're just kind of working. Team and player working to find him a change of scenery, which is kind of a shame. I hope he finds that new home and get back to where he was. Because yeah, there was it Nashville that sort of revitalized his career? Because I think at one point he was in the Tampa system, had some personal issues, some demons, and just
well,
uh got
he
help, came
was.
back, and I think it was Nashville where he kind of resparked his career.
We're still talking Connor Ingram, yeah.
Hunter Ingram, yes.
Yeah, yeah. I just remember him battling in Arizona hard as, I guess, the 1B for a while before
Yeah.
taking over for a while as the 1A, and just pulling up his fantasy player. It sounds like his mother passed in December 2024, which is brutal. And I don't know if that comes with
I
some of the
think
other
yeah, circular
concerns.
say yeah for OCD. I think yeah, it's a couple of these guys.
Hmm,
Couple of
for
these
sure,
guys.
brutal, brutal. Yeah.
Been in there for that. So yeah, probably not Connor Ingram, probably not fantasy relevant anymore at this point. But yeah, I would say yeah, Bitchmelka, Fan and Check, your two two goalies there. But top prospects, if there is a team where any of these prospects can come in and make an impact, it's probably Utah. So maybe
Agreed.
some guys to, especially if you're in deeper leagues, fantasy or dynasty leagues. Wow. It's getting late. Yeah, Caleb Denoyers, he was a fourth overall pick, seen as NHL ready, but he had wrist surgery in the offseason. So maybe by midseason, pushing for middle six ice time. Um, and yeah, I had to make sure I got the relation right. T. Jaginla, um, son of Jerome
Mhm.
recently had hip surgery, but highly likelihood sounds like he'll make opening roster.
Yeah.
And then Dmitry Simishev recently signed his ELC coming over from the KHL. Sounds like he is first man up if there's any kind of injury or rotation needs. Yeah, that takes us through all four teams. Do you have anything closing, Jay?
Um, no, I was just double checking. I guess for Wanimations, I guess to answer your
Yes. Okay,
question.
there we go. So yeah, as far as what's next, we're not sure. But I mean, obviously we'll be back for the season and everything. But as far as like, I think we still technically had Pacific Division. We wanted to do like positional rankings. And like I said at the beginning of the show, we'll probably want to do like some reactions to like preseason games, camps. Sure that'll be a show. Live mock drafts. Um, that I don't know. We'll have to get together and obviously, yeah, Discord, Twitter, we'll make sure to get that word out.
By the way, I went on the website just to have to find out anyway. It does look like Brandon Tanev always sees ghosts in every one of his
Dude,
team
it's funny.
photos.
It's of all the things to like kind of be known for, they're far worse. Um,
Incredible.
but yeah, that's gonna wrap it up for tonight, guys. Thank you for wherever you are. like I said, we'll be back in some form in the near future. But good night, good mental health, everyone.
We'll pick you up later.
Adios, turd nuggets.